Okay. Um. Yeah. Today. Well, this week I have been in Mérida, in Yucatan. It's a good city. I really like it. Um. It reminds me a bit of Mexico City. It's like a small Mexico City, but it's very organized. I think that it's a beautiful place, honestly. Yeah, I like it. Maybe the beach is not that close, but you can go to other places where they have a beach um that are close to Merida. Yeah, so we will be here uh a couple of days more. Okay. Very well. So we start, let's see. So today we're going to have a review of reported speech, but we're going to start with this lesson. Okay. So it says, I wish I hadn't heard that. Have you ever felt like this? I wish I haven't heard that.
Yo desearía no haber escuchado.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yo desearía no haber escuchado eso.
Ujú.
I hadn't heard that.
Desearía no haber escuchado eso ya. Have you ever felt like that? Like you heard something, you saw something, then you regret it? Maybe it was a necessary, maybe it was a truth that um from a person you didn't believe, that show you how things really are, but you didn't want to know this information, or maybe it made you very sad when you realized about it. Have you ever felt like this? And if you see the we have here a word that it says eavesdrop. Eavesdrop and eavesdropper. We're going to check what is this. So eavesdrop is when a person overhears. You can say eavesdrop or you can say overhear. Overhear is like you hear something unintendedly. Yeah. You I don't know, you just hear a rumor, for example, escuchar un rumor, and you say overhear when it's not intended. It's not your intention to know about it. That's overhear. And eavesdrop is similar, but in this case, it's intentional. You try to pay attention to what other person is saying, but secretly. For example, you hear two people having a conversation. You get close and you try you know, to be like a gossipy. Gossipy es como ser chismoso. Ajá. Yeah. So you can be like gossipy, maybe a little bit nosy. Nosy sería como metiche. So eavesdrop es eso, escuchar algo a escondidas, escuchar um, algo que no deberías de estar escuchando. Yeah, that's eavesdrop. So that's the meaning. You can see eavesdropper. You see eavesdropper. Eavesdropper es quien les gusta escuchar a escondidas, un chismoso. Okay, so these people, they overheard something. And you are going to, okay, let's read it. And we're going to see what these people overheard or these people uh, eavesdropped. Please, Reina, could you read the first one that is for Luis?
Yes. On the road to work, I heard my boss voice behind me. I think he was talking to the office manager on his cell phone. He was telling her that I will be a bad day at work. He explained that they were going to lay off my entire department.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Thank you. So, he was on the bus, then he heard that it would be a bad day because they were going to lay off the entire department. What is layoff? What is layoff? Similar, it would be fired.
Pensé que era suspender, como cuando te dicen te despido.
Despedir.
Um,
Yes, exactly. So
Pero ¿por qué? ¿Pero why? What
fire.
is
Yeah, fire
fire?
someone is despedir. Fire someone. Exactly. It's using fire. The fire is despedir. And you can also use layoff. Layoff es más formal. You say layoff or fire. Both mean the same. Okay, so that's Luis. He hears something bad, right? Bad news for him at work. Okay, let's see. Now for Rebecca. Nubia, can you please help me read the next one?
Yes, teacher. Rebecca, 25, Vancouver. I overheard my roommates and her friend gossip about me when I got home. I asked them what they were saying, but they claimed they hadn't been talking about me. I knew that wasn't true. It really hurt my feelings.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you see, um, I think we say this expression, right? Um, like when you know, when you already know, but you let them lie to you anyway, right? Es como, when you already know, but you let them lie to you anyway, es como cuando, eh, cuando ya sabes la verdad, pero aún dejas que te mientan, ¿no? O cuando ya sabes que están mintiendo, pero no les dices nada porque no les quieres comentar cómo te enteraste, you know? So sometimes it happens like this person, right? You know something and you're sure, and then you go and you face the person. I don't know, maybe you want to know what really happened, and the person wouldn't tell you the truth. The person would try to deny it. Deny sería negarlo. Person would try to deny it. So when they try to deny things, it's even worse, right? Because you know they're lying and you know they're capable of lying. So esos son capaces de mentir, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, ahí también se rompe confianza. Okay, let's read the last one, please, Reina. Could you read the next case?
Yeah, I'm 18 Portland. Last week, ay, perdón. Last week, I overheard my little brother on his cell phone. He was warning his friend not to say anything.
Mhm.
So, of course, I listened. He said he was getting a terrible grade in math this year. And he said it was a big secret too. In fact, my parents still don't know the truth.
Okay. Well, last one. So now we have a question for you. Have you ever heard someone talking about you and what did you do? Nubia. Have you ever heard someone talking about you and what did you do?
Well, I don't remember. I, I think that I um one day, but I am not sure if the person was talking about me, but I think that yes, I heard something and then I stopped and I came back and I how can I say lo enfrenté,
Face?
I faced them and I told him if you have a problem, tell me. And he just um, put a strange face, and then I go out. So I don't know if he really was talking about me, but I think that yes.
Do you remember what he was saying about you?
Not exactly. It was a problem with group,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember that um we didn't pay for his things. For example, he had um, to buy grapes and
Mm-hmm.
juice for his um, isin,
Mm-hmm.
because he had a character perform,
Mm-hmm.
and he had to buy some things, and he didn't buy it, and
He
he was
didn't do his
talking with
part.
other girl, uh, and he said they don't bought my things. That's
Mm-hmm.
not correct because they have money and they had to buy all the things that we need, but we don't say that. And I was angry with that situation.
Yeah, I will be angry too. Hmm. Okay, how about you, Reina? Have you ever heard someone talking about you? What did you do?
Mm, I don't remember. I think I haven't heard others talk about me for these reasons. I don't remember. I I forgot about this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you don't remember well?
I don't remember. Mm, I prefer or forgot the bad things. I don't
Ah,
remember.
okay. Well, yeah, that can be painful, right? Sometimes to remember. Um, yeah, he were just sharing, right? So you don't remember any time. You just forgive and forget. Forgive es perdonar, forget es olvidar. right? Well, for me too, I had a situation with my best friend, and I realized he was talking bad things about me. Uh, then it was a painful thing, but right now I think it's water under the bridge. So I'm not friends with him anymore, but it's okay. Water under the bridge?
No, teacher.
Water under the bridge, así se dice. Cuando dices, it's water under the bridge, cuando quiere decir que ya está olvidado. O sea, que ya no hay problema. You can say, it's water under the bridge. Es como ya está olvidado. Yeah. Usually when you forgive someone, you use it. Huh. For me, I have to say that sometimes I can forgive and not taking things personally, but I I can be a little bit resentful. Resentful is rencoroso. So I don't know if you are like this or if you have ever felt resentful. But I think that some things like it happened with my friend, I couldn't feel like I could forgive those things. I couldn't forgive him for those things. So I didn't want to continue our friendship because of those things that happened. Um, so yes, sometimes I could be a little bit resentful. So we have two things, right? We have forgetful and resentful. Son como antónimos, ¿no? Forgetful es alguien que perdona, alguien perdonador. Resentful es alguien rencoroso. So which one you are more? Are you more resentful or are you more forgetful?
In the past, I was resentful, but now I am more forgetful because it's not
Okay.
good and be a resentful person. You you keep many things in your body, and maybe it's not good for your health.
Yeah, that's true. When you are resentful, sometimes it's just bad for you. It's not something that you should keep to yourself. It can really affect you, like emotionally. It's not good to keep it. Okay, so let's see. Now with the next one, it says, would you rank each person in the same way? So here it is. We have this is an interview, and some people were interviewed about the people they would trust tell one of these things: good news, bad or tragic news, a gossip, and personal information. And people um this is what people answer. So number one is the person they will tell first. Number four is the person they will tell last, right? ¿Con quién compartirían las personas? ¿En qué orden compartirían good news, tragic news, gossip, un chisme, personal information? And here we have it. For example, who will you tell good news? ¿A quién le dirías buenas noticias? We have family member, spouse, close friend, or colleague. And the first one is spouse. Spouse. This is first one. Most of the people would tell the good news. Which would be the second? Family member. That means I don't know, your parents, your brother, your sister. You would tell second. Then after that, you would tell a close friend, un amigo cercano. And then after that, you would tell colleague, un compañero de trabajo, al último. Okay, what's the order, Reina, for bad or tragic news?
¿Lo puede repetir? Sorry, can you repeat, please?
Yes, so who would you tell bad or tragic news? Okay, you check.
First,
Okay, so these people who were interviewed, who would they say first?
I I tell to my family member.
Yes, so
In
here.
second
And second,
place, spouse.
spouse. Then,
Third, close friends
okay, and finally,
and college
colleague.
colleague
Colleague. Yes.
colleague
Yeah, porque college es colegio,
colleague
es colleague,
colleague
es colega. College, colleague. Different.
colleague. Okay.
Colleague. Okay. How about gossip? According to the people who were interviewed, Nubia, who would these people tell gossip? Would they tell gossip? What is the order that people who were interviewed?
First, family member.
No,
Sorry.
Huh.
A colleague.
Colleague.
First colleague. Then close friend.
Mhm.
Next, spouse.
Yeah.
And the last, family member.
Okay, very good. Then, personal information. Reina, what is the order in which people would say it?
For me, the personal information, first place, spouse.
Okay.
Later, family member, um, se la debate.
Mhm.
And later, close friends, and finally, colleague.
Okay, very well. So now we're going to see why would you tell something to one person and not to another? We're going to see your reasons. So the reason to share good news, why do you think people always tell their spouse before anyone else? Do you think it makes sense? Do you think it's illogical? Nubia, when you have good news, why would you tell first your spouse instead of a colleague?
Maybe because the person has more confidence with um, his or her spouse than a colleague. It's closer to me or to the person, and you can trust in that person.
Yeah.
Maybe a colleague is just part of your work and your job, and you don't have many things in common.
Correct. Yes. I think good news or exciting news, I think you will share first with the person you're closest to. So that's why we have spouse, that the next person will be another family member, then your close friends, and then your colleagues, usually, right? I think that if you receive the good news, for example, at work, so maybe you would tell first a colleague. It's also circumstantial. It depends where you are at. If I'm with the person, like if I'm with my friend when I receive the good news, so my friend is going to be the one who knows first. But yeah, I think that you usually would tell good news to your spouse. Okay. In bad and tragic news, you see that the order changed a bit. So I think that we have a relation between the important or the most relevant information and the how close you are to the person. So colleague, let's say that your colleague or your workmates or your peers or okay, those are ways you can call compañeros de trabajo, workmates, colleagues, or peers. I think they are usually not as important, right, as other people in your world. So you can see that the colleagues are the last ones in knowing about good news, the last ones knowing about bad and tragic news, right? Los últimos en saber noticias muy buenas y los últimos en saber noticias muy malas. So, does it make sense to you that a colleague is the last one in knowing about bad news? For example, if you got maybe a disease, si te has enfermado, por ejemplo, de alguna cosa, bueno, mala, muy grave, does it make sense to tell your colleague first? ¿Tiene sentido que le digas primero al compañero de trabajo? What do you think right now? Will you tell them first, your colleagues, will you tell them first?
No, Ay, perdón.
No worry.
No. Es como diría fielmente.
Can you repeat?
How do you say fielmente?
En mente,
Fielmente,
fielmente.
fielmente.
Faithfully,
Faithful,
fielmente.
sí, faithfully. I think the colleague I don't hear faithfully. These persons don't hear for for give me a solution for my problems.
Yeah,
Mhm.
good.
Mm,
You're still sick, right? You have a sore throat? Are you still sick? Do you have a sore throat?
¿Cómo? Perdón.
Do you have a sore throat? You're still sick?
Sore. ¿Qué es sore?
Sore throat. Que te duele la garganta. Do you still have a sore throat?
I don't feel very well. My heart, my throat, in some moments hurt, but not all the time.
Oh, I see. So,
I have a tos, nada más tos, de repente,
cough. All right.
talk. Ajá.
Okay, well, I hope you
How do
you
you
feel
say
better.
flemas? Eso sí, no sé cómo se dice.
Yeah, well, you could just say mocos. Uh-huh.
Mocos es lo mismo que flemas.
Yeah, I mean, la flema es moco de todas formas, ¿no? Yes.
Ok. Y entonces, si alguien dice tengo moco, también dice tengo moco.
Yeah, but actually you would use another word. I think mucus es más eso, es como una flema, es un líquido que ya, bueno, ya sabemos que puede ser de nariz o de boca o que venga de la boca, ¿no? De todas formas es lo mismo, pero es como la palabra más correcta. Then you can say snot es el otro moco, ¿no? Como de la nariz. I'm sorry if it's
Entonces, puedo
disgusting, but yeah.
decir
Mhm.
I have snot and mucus.
No, no, snot is just from nose. Uh-huh. No,
Ah,
mucus is would be like phlegm. Mm.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, they're the same, right? But
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Very well. Let's see. So this is, you have sore throat. And okay, well, we were talking right about who would solve your problem. You said that you wouldn't tell tragic news to a colleague because he couldn't solve your problem. But I think that more than who could solve your problem, I think that you would find comfort. For example, if you receive news that you have a very bad disease, let's say cancer, let's say other kind of diseases, well, there's nothing you can do about it. You cannot go to any friend or spouse and tell them, hey, I have this, and you will be cured. But the idea is that you need someone to comfort you, right? That's why here, interestingly, they share first, these people interview, they share first with their family member and then they share with their spouse. I think that it has to be that you don't want your spouse to be worried at the beginning, but this person needs to know anyway because it's your spouse. But maybe you want to tell this very bad news to someone who really needs you. I mean, who really loves you and who is very close to you. You wouldn't tell this information just to a random person or to a person you're not very close to, like a colleague. So I think that some things are very personal and even they are kind of reserved information. Like you don't even, I've seen that people try this like very secretly or like it's confidential. I don't know if you've seen this. Um, but people even we just try to avoid, right? When they talk to other person, nada más dicen que está enfermo, pero no te dicen de qué está enfermo ni qué, cuál es su gravedad, como que no comparten esos detalles. There are some other people that are very open. I think that it depends also on you. Some people are very open and very talkative, and they can share with you good or bad news, and they don't know, even if they don't know you or you don't know them, but they tell you everything. Yeah. But I think that's the reason. I would tell the bad news to my spouse, to my family members, before telling anyone else. Yeah. Even I think I would tell in the third place, I would tell a family member because I would be afraid of making them worried. Yeah. Entonces, no sé, llamarle a mis papás o a familiares para decirles una mala noticia. Siento que los angustiaría mucho, ¿no? A lo mejor, si no pueden resolver nada en el momento, a lo mejor les digo ya después. I don't know, that's the way I think. But I would prefer to wait to tell them. Yo les diría casi al último a mi familia. Because I don't know, I know they get worried, like they get stressed. Depende mucho también de cómo es tu familia, ¿no? My family gets stressed so easily. And so I know it would not be helpful. Okay, finally, personal information. I don't really know what that means if you will you tell personal information. Vamos a pensar quizás en algún secreto, ¿no? Algún secreto, alguna cuestión, no sé, algo oculto, digamos, de tu vida. So this person would tell first their close friend. I don't know, this personal information could be that you felt I don't know, some people tend to share their matrimony problems with other people, right? Uh, they they maybe just want to say how they feel, and of course they cannot talk about it, right? If you have an argument with your spouse, si tienes una discusión con tu esposo o tu esposa, pues obviamente quizá en ese momento si están molestos no lo van a hablar. So you have your close friend, le vas a decir a un amigo cercano, ay, ayer me peleé con mi esposa, ayer me peleé con mi esposa, ¿no? Okay, so you would tell first your close friend. That's the kind of personal information. No sé a qué se refiere aquí con personal information. No sé, cualquier cosa, algún secreto, algo que no es necesariamente malo, no es una noticia trágica. But yeah, I think that um, that's some of the reasons, right? But okay, Yeah, I don't know what other kind of personal information or what are they talking about in here. No sé de qué estén hablando aquí, qué información personal. I just think about it. Now, I think I think that here when you have, for example, arguments or with your spouse, let's say, I think it's not wise to share immediately with your family, you know? I think that you need to be able to solve it as a family, because if you go, you tell anyone else, si vas y le dices, ay mamá, me peleé con mi esposa, ay mamá, me peleé con mi esposo, dependiendo obviamente de la gravedad, ¿no? Obviamente si es una persona violenta, pues, bueno, ahí es otra cosa, pero vamos a hablar de una discusión. So you're having an argument. And so I think that you don't want your family to know about it, you know, because it can be a little bit uncomfortable for them. Because they would come, they would visit you, you know, van a visitar, van a ver a pasar, algún día van a venir a tu casa con y van a hablar con tu esposa y es incómodo, you know. I think that we shouldn't be like this. I can understand something. And now there's the other side where you have close friends or colleagues and you share this information with them. And I don't think that's a really good idea, you know, especially if we talk about this case. Um, si le dices a tu mejor amigo, tu mejor amiga o a un compañero de trabajo que tienes problemas en tu matrimonio, bueno, eso no es muy buena señal. Something will happen, something will, you know, the person could take advantage of it, or, you know, something could start off from that. Por eso muchas veces hay tantas situaciones de infidelidad, ¿no? En el trabajo, precisamente si compartes este tipo de información personal con un compañero de trabajo, con un amigo, ¿no? Que, I don't know. I think that you need to know what information to share with any person, right? También aquí esta información es un poco ambigua. Puede ser tragic news y a lo mejor es una tragedia que sucede en el trabajo. So you would tell a colleague first, le pedirías primero a tu colega, ¿no? There are so many things, so many circumstances. In my opinion, they would change the ranking these people wrote here. En mi opinión, sí cambiarían eh, el ranking que tendríamos aquí. Okay, so now we're going to have this review of reported speech. In reported speech, we have to remember, right? We were saying like, we were talking about overhearing, we were talking about sharing information with other person. And remember, reported speech is when you share when you share something to other person, when you talk to a person about what other person said. And here you have a couple of examples. It's a big secret, ¿ok? Entonces, si yo quiero repetir que una persona dijo, it's a big secret, esto es un gran secreto. So, I would say, he said that it was a big secret. Él dijo que eso era un gran secreto. So, you can see, es un gran secreto cuando yo repito, digo, eso era un gran secreto. No porque ya no sea un gran secreto, sino porque simplemente cambio un poco el tiempo para que, bueno, dar la idea de que he repetido algo. I'm getting a terrible grade. Tendré una terrible calificación. He said that he was getting a terrible grade. Él dijo que él tendría o iba a tener una terrible calificación. So you need to change the tense when you report something, so you can see the difference between statements and reported statements. And this is something typical too in Spanish. In Spanish, we tend to change the tense too when we use reported speech, right? It's something natural. We say, quiero ir a Miami, no sé. Él dijo que quería ir a Miami, no porque ya no quiera ir a Miami, sino porque estoy repitiendo lo que él dijo. Yo voy no sé, voy a viajar. Él dijo que iba a viajar. Okay. So the idea is similar in Spanish. I think we can understand. Now, we just maybe you can try to see how to change to past. What is the past tense of each of these tenses? The first one you have simple present, and then you change to simple past. And then you have present continuous, and you get past continuous. Then you have got engaged, and you have had gotten engaged. So for example, here is simple past. And what do you get here, Nubia? Got engaged
Past
changes
perfect.
to past perfect. Yes. We weren't talking about you. Okay, so they claim that they hadn't been talking about me. So this is past continuous, and here we use past perfect
Past
continuous.
perfect.
Yeah. She's been absent since Tuesday. This is present perfect. He said that she had been absent since Tuesday. Yeah. Well, this is present perfect. This is past perfect.
Past perfect.
Yes. Okay. We had never been there before. He said that they had never. So past perfect doesn't change. I'll meet you at a cafe. He said that he would meet me at the cafe. Okay. Now, can you please help me read the 4 reporting questions in this part 2, the reported questions?
Yes, teacher. Questions. Did you know about the layoffs? I asked him if he had known about the layoffs. What are you saying? I asked them what they were saying.
Very well. Okay. So, when we report questions, we have 2 options. You can have questions that are open questions or they are closed. When I say an open question, I usually use the WH questions. I use what, where, when, who, because the question can be different in each case. When I use a closed question or a yes, no question, you only have the auxiliary verb. You don't have a WH question. So for example, the first question, did you know about layoffs, is a yes, no question. It's a closed question, una pregunta cerrada, porque la respuesta a esa pregunta solo puede ser sí o no. Did you know about the layoffs? ¿Ya sabías acerca de los despidos? So the question can be yes or no. And in this case, when we have just no questions, aquí tenemos con did, pero puede ser con will, puede ser con do, siempre y cuando no tenga un what, un when, un where antes. Eso es una pregunta cerrada. And in this case, we're going to add if. If is sí. It's like, también puedes utilizar otro sinónimo que es whether, right? Whether. So, aquí dice, él preguntó si habíamos sabido acerca de los despidos. So, in this case, you use if when you have just no questions. Now, when you have a WH question, this is an open question, what, when, where, who, etc. Then you're going to use the same WH question. I asked them what they were saying. Les pregunté qué estaban diciendo. I asked them what they were saying. ¿Qué estaban diciendo? So you are using the same WH question in your reported question. That's how you say it. Él preguntó qué estaban diciendo. Aquí la clave solamente es que cuando se hace una pregunta, tengo que utilizar el auxiliar what are you, pero cuando ya contesto no digo what were they. Es decir, el where no va antes de they. You don't say what were they. You would say what they were saying. I asked them what they were saying. Les pregunté qué estaban diciendo. So you don't say what were they. You just say what they were saying. Okay? It's important to keep the order because when you have a question and you report a question, it's no longer a question. It can be confusing, but this is true. Si yo repito una pregunta que alguien dijo, yo ya no estoy preguntando en mi oración, ¿no? Aquí estoy preguntando, ¿qué estás diciendo? Él preguntó, ¿qué estaban ellos diciendo? Entonces, no estoy preguntando cuando yo utilizo esta oración. Por eso no hay un question mark, right? So very important. You don't, when you report questions, they're no longer questions. They don't follow the structure of a question. They use the structure of an affirmation. Okay. Now we have the next one for comments. Can you please read the examples for comments?
Yes. Comments. Don't say anything. Reported comments. He warned his friend not to say anything.
Okay, so this is something comments. Comments are orders, and it's also called imperative. When you use imperative, you say do this or don't do this. Say something, don't say anything. Clean, don't clean, etc. So they are orders. In this case, the tense is not really simple present, is not past, it's just an order, it's another kind of tense that is called imperative. El imperativo no es un tiempo que está como tal en el presente o en el pasado ni en ningún otro tiempo, simplemente es un tiempo especial o una forma especial que utilizamos cuando damos una orden. And when you change to the reported, si quieres repetir, por ejemplo, una orden del jefe, una orden de alguien más. So the only thing you have to use is infinitive. All right, in this case is negative. Don't say anything. He warned his friend not to say anything. Él le advirtió a su amigo no decir nada. So we have a positive, for example. Come here. Entonces sería, he told him to come here, or he asked him to come here or there. We need the context. He told him to come here. He asked him to come here. ¿Ok? Entonces, no tengo que cambiar a pasado porque, de nuevo, esto no es presente simple. ¿Ok? Esto es imperativo. So, when you have imperative, you need to add to. Okay, let's check now for general truths. Can you please read, Nubia?
Yes, teacher. General truths. The sun rises in the east. Reported general truths. She said that the sun rises in the east. No change in tense.
Okay, thank you. Here we have, again, simple present, but this is a general truth. This is something that is always true. When you say the sun rises in the east, you don't expect the sun to rise in the west the next day or to do it at a different time. So the sun always does it. And this is a general truth. You don't need to change the tense. The tense only changes when something is not always like that. When it's just it's just in a determined situation. Sorry. So yeah, general truths like this, like natural laws or things that are common sense, or things that are yeah, that always stay the same. You don't change the tense, you keep the same. Okay. Well, so this is a bit about a reported speech. Now you can see that we are using 3 principal reporting verbs, but there are more. We have the verb tell. Tell means contar o decirle algo a alguien. Para utilizar tell, necesito a quien decirle, ¿no? I told him, por ejemplo, yo le dije a él. She told me, ella me dijo a mí. She told me, yeah. And I told him, she told me. Necesito siempre añadir una persona, all right? Now, when you use say, this is not necessary. Say no necesita y de hecho no debe de llevar una persona. No es correcto decir he said me. Puedes decir he said to me, pero no existe he said me, she said me. That doesn't exist. Then, finally, we have ask. Ask is like you can imagine for questions, but it's also for polite request, right? For example, if I ask you, can you wash the dishes? Entonces estoy pidiendo algo, entonces podríamos decir, he asked me to wash the dishes. Me pidió que lavara los trastes. He asked me to wash the dishes. So you can use them in this way. We're going to try to check. So according to what we wrote, according to what we checked, you're going to write here. This is going to be for your homework. Please write the reported speech for these sentences. Let me see. Okay, so there is the homework. So I think we'll finish for now. Your other partner left. We can't continue with the next activity, but we'll try tomorrow. We'll try to start even earlier. So